that. But having said that, because he's such a presence in our forward line, and probably since 2008, and the success that he had that year, he's been such a presence that even when times when he's got perhaps 2, maybe 3 opponents on him or in the region of where he is, that our players are so conditioned to kick the ball to him that sometimes it's not the best option to kick it to. And so, therefore, at different stages, we like to play him higher up the ground so that he's not there as that option. So we have to actually lower our eyes and explore the options available. And we think that if over the course of the season, I think he does play his best footy for us when he's in the pointy end of the ground. But having said that, if we over 22 rounds of footy, you get that condition that he's the only guy that we're going to kick to and derive a score from, then we're in a little bit of trouble come finals time, and we're that conditioned to play that way that we're not willing to explore other methods than avenues to goal. And I think we'd like to explore through the home and away season, not to the detriment of actually making the finals, of course, but explore whether he can play a number of roles for us higher up the ground, so that we've got the flexibility to do either when it comes to the important games at the end of the year.
I guess the either in terms of the alternative has been Jared Roughhead as the sort of, he just hasn't seemed to be getting as much of the footy deep in the forward line as. Well, he did in that 2008 year when the two of them together kicked a couple of 100 goals.
Well, last year he still kicked, I think he kicked 55 goals or something along those lines, which by any stretch is a pretty good season for a forward. It's nearly 3 a game. I think he kicked 70 something in his 2008 year. Probably didn't kick as accurately as he would have liked. Doesn't sound much,
but that 1 goal a game is the difference between okay or fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. On average. That's right, and especially for guys that play in that area of the ground. And we've played 6 games and he's kicked 11 or 12 for us this year. So when it's just the scoreboard that you're looking at, you'd say, oh, maybe he hasn't made as solid a contribution this year as what he could have. But we've actually used him in the ruck a fair bit throughout the course of this year, and he's really enjoyed that flexibility in his game, and he's got some skills, some ground level skills in particular, but he comes from a basketball background, so he understands congestion and he understands body positioning really well. It's such a combative game, basketball, in a very tight space, that he's learnt those skills when he's a young fella, and we're utilising those now that he's starting to explore in an AFL environment, and that's really exciting for us. But once again, you've got to. Is it robbing Peter to pay Paul? He does some good work for us in the middle of the ground, but we lose such a big presence in our forward line as well. And he and Franklin do work so well together. They're great mates. They were drafted out of the same draft at the end of 2004, and they've got a really good cohesion with the way that they play up forward. But once again, it's working out. Just exploring different ways that they can contribute to the game when the ball's not getting to them as much as they'd like in the forward end. How can they still contribute? They're both very important players to us, and sometimes they can have a contribution to make in the middle of the ground that will hopefully help us become a little bit more flexible when it comes to the more important games later in the year.
Just another player, Clinton Young, who is he fitting well enough now to give you that run and ball carry and long kicking? He just seems to have had an injury interrupted the last few years.
Yeah, his last couple of years have been a little bit hampered, particularly 09. And he had a terrible ankle injury that he hurt at the start of the third quarter in the grand final that was a lot more serious than we first thought, and it caused him to miss a lot of the pre-season, and then complications from that then required him to have a hip complaint that required surgery as well. So 2009 was really a wipeout for Clinton, unfortunately, and it took him a while to get into the swing of things in 2010. But he's had a really good summer. He's still finding his way in terms of the new way that we want to play and how we can best utilise his skills. But he's a very, very important player for our side. He's a real run and carry player, and what we call a 100-metre player.
Kicks long, doesn't he, at the end of it?
He can run and gather the ball and carry it for a bit and then kick it 60 or 70 metres, and there, particularly with presses and zones, then he's a very, very valuable player to be able to clear some area.
And Sam Mitchell, who handed over the captaincy, but it was interesting. Players have to put their life into compartments a little bit, and he obviously had the issue where one of his twin girls was very ill there for a while, but he still mostly kept playing, and that that ability to still play your footy while there's a really serious personal issue going on, it's a bit of a sign of his strength.
Yeah, he's got remarkable resilience, and you know, a lot. You seem to think just when they're on the telly and they put themselves out to play that they somehow seem like invincible men that they haven't got other things going on in their lives. But you know, from time to time, all of us have things that are going on in our lives, and Mitch obviously had one that was pretty close to his heart in terms of the health of his twin girls, and yeah, he and Lyndall had to do it tough for a little while, and obviously focus enormously on what was required for little Scarlett to get back to full health. And the hard part, I think, was just the uncertainty of it all. You know, with little infants, it's so hard to detect what's actually causing little Scarlett not to be able to put on weight and taking their milk. And but that's all settled now, and now they're going through the demands of sleep patterns and feeding and all that sort of stuff. That is a challenge in itself. But certainly in terms of the fear of illness and whether she'd get well again and all that sort of stuff is now suppressed, which is great, and he can really start to focus on his footy. But he did a remarkable job through that time, and just goes to show the resilience of the guy.
Do you find that with all your players, I mean, everyone just looks at how they play footy and they get praised or criticised for not playing as well as people think they can, but when you might know of something that's going on in their life, whether it's a physical issue or an off-field emotional issue, you feel like saying, you know, give the kid a break. He's got things going on that you don't know about.
Yeah, and with some of your players, there's things that are going on in their lives that they don't want to reveal to you as well. That after a patch of two or three weeks, you'll be questioning their form, and then it finally emerges that there's something going on outside footy that they thought that they'd be able to deal with themselves because they didn't want to bother other people at the footy club about them. But had you known about it, you could have perhaps handled things in a different way. And so little things like that. I mean, these guys are human beings, and young ones at that. You know, 18 to 25, the bulk of them. Sam, for instance, didn't surprise me in the sense that he was able to demonstrate that resilience and cope in a pretty traumatic time for them. It's the 15 to 25-year-olds that you know, haven't developed the life skills like Sam has to be able to cope with those types of things, that they really rely on guys like myself and Mark Evans and Chris Fagan and our whole group of coaches, Jason Bird, our development guy, to actually support them through those things and use us in a lot of cases where parents ourselves, and we've been through a lot of the issues that they've been through. We'd much prefer that they seek our counsel to provide them with